Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into the world of cybersecurity with a powerful tool called Nessus. Now, Nessus is a vulnerability scanner tool that helps to identify weaknesses in our system and networks. By finding these vulnerabilities, we can patch them up and improve the overall security posture of the organization, even at home. So in this video, we are going to go through two things. First of all, we are going to install Nessus. We will walk through the steps to get Nessus up and running on your Kali machine, and then we will do a basic introduction of the Nessus interface. We'll explore what Nessus can do, how to run simple network scan, and then explore the vulnerability report which Nessus generates for us. Now, before we start, remember that before we do any scanning on any network, we need to ensure that we have proper authorization of the network or the system that we are trying to scan through. So now let's jump in. So first of all, we will do the installation of Nessus, and first we need to head over to the Tenable website, who are the makers of Nessus. There is a free version of Nessus which is called Nessus Essentials, and it's perfect for us to get started to use Nessus for free. So now let's head over to any browser of the system. I am using Kali virtual machine over here, and we got this Firefox browser. So I'm opening the Firefox browser, and then I will go to the Tenable website to download the Nessus. So I will search for Nessus download, and we will go to this site called tenable.com/download/Nessus. So I will add this link to the video description as well. So after coming over here, we need to select the version of the Nessus. We will try to select the latest version that this Nessus is providing. Then we need to select the platform. So depending on the system that you are in, you need to select the particular platform. So for us, we are using this Kali, which is a Debian distribution. So the one that we are going to select is this one. So Linux Debian AMD64 for this Kali Linux virtual machine. So select that one and then click on download. Select the agree button to agree with the license agreement of this Tenable website. So the download has been started, and we will head over to the download phase. So once we are here, we can see this Nessus file has been downloaded. We will right click from the mouse and click on open terminal here. So we want to open the terminal and go into this download folder path. So I will press Ctrl Shift and plus in order to increase the font size. So let's do ls. We are on the correct path, and now in order to install this Nessus on the system, we need to use a Debian package manager called dpkg and then -i, and then following that we need to type the full name of this Nessus. We can type NE or N and then press tab to autocomplete. So once it is done, we can press enter. However, remember that we need to have like root access in order to do installation. So this dpkg can do installation, removal of software, and then making different other configuration changes of the system as well. And it definitely needs a root access. So I'm giving a temporary root access by using this sudo. So once I do that, I can type the password of the user, and then the installation has been started. Okay, so now that the installation has been done, the next step is to start this Nessus service. Remember, Nessus is a service. So before we want to use this Nessus, we need to ensure that the Nessus service is running. So the next step would be running this service. So we can copy this bit of the command, Control Shift C to copy and Control Shift V to paste, and also it will require this sudo access. So sudo systemctl start nessus d.service, and it will start the Nessus service. Now, how we can know that the service is up and running? We can also check the status. So we can type sudo systemctl status and then nessus d.service, and we can see that the service is active and running. So every time we disconnect or switch off our virtual machine, and we come back later on to use the Nessus service, we need to ensure that the Nessus is running. And now you know how to start this Nessus service every time. So now that the service is running, the next step, in order to use the dashboard of the Nessus, we need to use this port, which is 8834. So we can go, we can actually copy this bit, and then go to the browser, and then paste this URL, press enter, and then over here, going to advanced and scroll a bit down, and we need to do accept the risk and continue in order to use the Nessus. So once we are in this page, remember we say that we can use a pre version of the Nessus given by the Tenable. Let's click on continue, and the one that we can use for free is called Nessus Essentials. So click on register for Nessus Essential, and again click on continue. Now we need to give some of our personal information in order to get an activation code from Nessus. So we need to give our name, first name, last name, and an email. This email can be any of your email, your Gmail, your work email, or if you are a student, you can use your university email as well. So it can be any sort of email. So once you enter all this information, then you can click on register. But if you already have an activation code which you got before, you can skip this step. So click on skip, and then type down the activation code from that email. So once you type down the activation code, click on continue, and then again continue. Now we need to set up the username and the password for the Nessus dashboard. For simplicity, I will keep it as Nessus, and then click on submit. So now the initialization of the Nessus installation is started. So what Nessus will now do, it will download all the plugins, and once the plugins has been downloaded, it will do compilation of those plugins, and also it will open that Nessus dashboard for us. So let's wait for it to finish, depending on the internet speed and the system resources that you have allocated for your Kali virtual machine. This can actually take a bit of time, around 30 to 35 minutes. So please bear with the process and have patience until it finishes all the initialization and then compilation of the plugins. So now, as you can see that all those plugins which has been downloaded is now getting compiled. So we need to wait for this compilation to be finished, and until it does so, some of these functionalities that Nessus provides. We might not be able to get the full, you know, we might not be able to use the full functionality of it. So until it finish all of this compilation, let's wait for it. So right now, if you actually hover over on this sign, you can see that so far it has completed only 11% of it. So let's wait for it to finish all of it together, and then we can explore different type of scans that are available. Okay, so now we can see that all those plugins has been done compiling. So Nessus has gave this prompt to start doing the scanning. Before we actually do that, let's have a look to the different options that we have in this interface. So let's close this one. So on the left hand side, we have different folders which will store different type of scanning that we do under those folders. We can in fact create different folders. For example, if we are working on different type of projects, we can create different projects name as part of the folder name where we will do different type of scanning. Now what type of scanning we can actually do, that should be the first question, right? So if we click on create a new scan, so we could have done clicking on new scan, or from here, or even under any of these folder we have this new scan option, right? So we can click on that, and then it will show us different type of scanning that we can do with Nessus. Now as we know that this Nessus Essential is a free service of the Nessus, so there are certain limitation available for this Nessus Essential. For example, you can only scan up to 16 IP addresses per scanning using this Nessus Essential. So if you need to scan more than 60 IP addresses, then you might have to upgrade the type of Nessus service that you are going to be using. Okay, so first of all, we have this host discovery. It's a basic scan that can discover different type of information, such as what hosts are on the network and associated information of those networks, such as like IP addresses, what are the operating systems running on those IP addresses, and then what are the open ports which are available on those network. This sort of information. So it will create a list of all those hosts that are up and running on the system. So this is part of the host discovery. So if we click on host discovery, so what we can see is that first we have to put a name which is required. It can be any name, like let's say basic scanning, and then description, just to give additional information about the scanning that you are doing. Then we can also select what under which folder we want to add this information. We can select that, and then the target. Now this target could be one single IP address that you want to scan through, or it could be the whole network, or it can be a domain name as well. But remember, as I say, that this Nessus Essential can scan only 16 IP addresses, but that does not imply on host discovery. Remember, in host discovery we are not actually doing any sort of vulnerability scanning, right? We just want to discover the port and services information, right? We are not actually going to look for the type, different type of vulnerabilities available. That's why we can actually scan through the whole network in host discovery only, right? So we can type the IP addresses of our target, and then we can click on save, or we can click on this drop down which will bring this launch, and we can launch our scanning. Now we have some of the other information or other operations that we can also do. For example, we can schedule, we can turn it on, we can enable it, and then we can schedule our scanning whenever we want. And then we can also set up notification if we want to update anyone once our scanning is done. We can also do that. We can add the email address and so on, so that once the scanning is completed, we can notify let's say our manager or someone. Then we can go into discovery. Over here we can actually select the type of scanning that we want to do. We can do host enumeration, we can do operating system identification, and then port scan. We can scan the common ports, and we can also scan all the ports, which is around 65,536. And we can also do some sort of customization in our scanning. And then based on that, we will see that the information are getting changed. It will give us the information that what sort of activities that these scan type will do. So Nessus will display all those information over here. And then we can also select different type of outputs that we are looking for. So we can see that all the users data will be presented once we do these basic host discovery scanning, and then it will also perform display of the host, which will be responded to the ping of this scan. So basically, once we do this basic scan, whichever IP address will respond to the ping a request from this scan will be displayed as well from this Nessus scan. From the advanced, we can also do some other operations, but we are not going to go deep dive into it. So let's go back, and I think we can actually now select one of the network. For example, let's quickly have a look to the IP address that I got from my colleague. So if config to find out the IP address, I am using a NAT network which is 10.02.15. It's a class C type network. So let's go back to the prompt. So basic host discovery and scan the whole network, and then the IP address is 10.02 and then 0, which is the network address, /24. That means I want to scan the whole network. I can click on save, which will bring me back to the previous location where we were. Now I can click on launch from here, or I can click on this trash sign, and also I can click on this to do further configuration as well. So let's start this scan. Let's launch. So it has launched. You can see we can also pause, we can also stop, and while it's doing all this scanning, we can always click on this information, this button, and then it will show all the information that it is trying to bring
right? And then on the right hand side, you can see the scan details. It's doing a host discovery. You remember the type of scanning we selected, right? Host discovery, and the status is still running, still doing its is scanning. And then we don't see any information on the vulnerabilities because it's a host discovery scanning, right? It's not a vulnerability scanning. So now we can actually go into each of these IP addresses and then see what kind of information we are getting, right? So in this way we can gather information about all the IP addresses that we have in the system. Okay, so let's go back to um, new scan again. Okay, so now we have different other type of scanning available for different type of vulnerabilities. For example, we have basic network scan. Now, basic network scan performs a full system scan and is suitable for any sort of host. And we can use this basic network scan template as well in order to find out the basic vulnerability details of any of the target IP address. For example, we can perform an internal vulnerability scan on our organization system to see what type of vulnerabilities are available on that. And as this is a vulnerability scanning, remember we can only do up to 16 IP addresses, but what we are going to do in this demo is that we are going to use one IP address as our target, which will be Metasploitable VM. So let me go back to the VirtualBox and then start my Metasploitable first. Okay, so I just realized that my Kali VM is in net, and then my Metasploitable is currently in net network. So I will ensure that they are both in the same network so that we don't get any sort of issues with this network configuration, and they can ping each other. So I will pause the video, resolve this issue, and set up net network for both Metasploitable and Kali, ensuring that they are up and running. And then I will go back to the stage that we were into the Nessus scan. Okay, just to quickly show you that, what we were doing is that we went to tools, and from there we went to this network, and from there we selected on net networks, and then we actually created a net network of our a private network of 10.10.10.0 /24, and we named that net network as net network. We can name it anything we like, and if we need to create more net network, we can click on create and then create multiple networks, and we can define a new network address of our own, the one that we like. Anyway, so let me remove this one. So now the network type or network adapter is selected as net network for Kali, and also for Metasploitable the type is also net network. So let me start boot of the VM. Okay, so Metasploitable is up and running. Let me log into my system, and I added my username and password. So now that I am in and I have restarted my VM, right? So before I can use this Nessus service that we had, I need to start this Nessus service as I mentioned earlier. If I don't do that, let's actually see what really happens if I don't do that. So um, let me open that URL, which is Kali colon 8834. I press enter. So it's saying that unable to connect, right? It is because that Nessus service is not actually running right now. So let me actually start the service quickly. So let me open the terminal. Sudo su just to ensure that we don't need to type sudo every time. So the command that we need to type is systemctl start necessity.service. So once we start this service, now we can refresh this page and Nessus service will be started. Now we need to type the user credentials that we added during the installation. I can click on remember me as I am the only one user for this system. So let's click on sign in. Maybe I can save it as well. Okay, so now let's go into new scan. And in the meantime, let's also check the IP address of Kali, which is 10.10.10.28. And let's do scanning net discover -r, and then I want to actually scan through the whole network so that I can figure out what is the IP address of my target 10.10.0/24. Wait for it. So I can see that I have one of the IP addresses which is 29, which could be the target IP address. Now 10.10.10.1 could be the default gateway, and there is a strong possibility that this 29 would be my target. So let's press Ctrl C. So I will go back. Okay, let's have a quick discussion on all other scanning types. So we have advanced scan, which is the most configurable scan type, and we can actually configure this particular scan template to match any of the policy that we need. And mainly when we'll be doing any sort of scanning, vulnerability scanning, we will mainly be using advanced scanning, unless we have to do specific specialized scanning. For example, if we need to scan mobile devices, we can actually use this mobile device scan, which will be done by Microsoft Exchange or an MDM. Now we can also do web application scan as well. We can do different other type of scanning depending on the case study we have, or the work that we have to do. We can do a malware scan as well to scan malware on the Windows and Unix systems. Now let's go into the advanced scan. So you will see that it's pretty much the same type of template that we saw in the host discovery one. So now let's type a name, maybe advanced scan, ADB scan on Metasploitable, and then I can add description. I can select the folder that I want to keep this scan record, and then the IP address. So my IP address of the target is 10.10.10 and then 29, and then I can also do further information, right? I can do scheduling I can also do, notification setup. I can select the type of discovery that I want to do. Is it host discovery? Is it port scan? Is it service discovery? You can actually, go into all of these options and then explore what these are. And it's quite straightforward because, with all of these options, they have added, a lot of description about what it is, right? So we can see that, for example, over here, if we do port scan, it will do a scene, scan as part of the network port scanning type. And then whichever changes you need to make, just try, explore, and play around with these. Just ensure that do have access to your network, and you do have permissions, which is the most important part of this scanning. We don't want to put ourselves in problematic situations, right? So we need to ensure that we have required permission to scan a network or any target that we are trying to explore. Anyway, so let's go into host discovery, and then I will actually keep everything as default. Right now I don't want to make any changes in the system. If we are trying to do filtering in the future, maybe this is something that you can explore as well. Credentials, you can add the username and password if you know, or if you know about your target machine, for example, from your information gathering. If you found username and password, probably this could be something that you can pass, so that your Nessus scan can use different other plugins to like find out different other vulnerabilities of the system or the network. So this could be something that you can perform. You can set up SSH as well, and then from the categories you can also select what type of scanning that you want to do. And then finally, plugins, as we know that all type of scanning of Nessus is done through API requests, REST API requests, and these are getting done based on different type of plugins available on Nessus. We can also explore these Nessus. As you can see, all of these currently is enabled, right? So Nessus will utilize all these plugins in order to request for those API, in order to do those API requests to find out different type of vulnerabilities based on the plugins that they have configured. So we can test anything. For example, let's go on backdoor. Even in backdoor, you can see that there are over 123 plugins available for scanning backdoors. And then there are these plugin names and plugin ID. You can literally go inside and then see all those information as well. And also you can enable and disable any sort of plugins that you think that you won't need for your scanning. For example, let's say that I don't want to scan on that AI hacks local security checks. I don't need to do that. I know that my system is secured on that area of the scanning, so I can select or deselect all those options. So disable or enable all those plugins. Okay, so I have more options like assessment, what type of information that we are trying to assess on, and then we can also select what type of information we want to collect as part of the output. So in general scenarios, we will keep everything as default, but you can actually explore all these other options available. And if you have any question, you can drop in the comment, and I will try to reach back to you in the chat as quickly as possible in order to ensure that you understand other concepts as well. So I will click on save, and it will take me back. Okay, Windows, I don't want to set up that, so let's remove it. SSH as well, I don't want to set it up right now. Let's go back. So advanced scan. And then my target is 10, 10, 10, 29. Everything will be default, so click on save, and then from here I can launch this advanced scan. Now while this is scanning through the target machine, I can go inside, and then we will be able to see different information that this scanning is gathering. So let's wait for it to do some more scanning, gathering more information. In the meantime, we can go inside. So you can see that it's scanning on one host, and so far it has found 3 vulnerabilities. So if we actually go inside, we will be seeing different information that this advanced scan was able to find out. And also as you can see that different categories of the vulnerabilities available in our system is also being classified. So this red is the critical vulnerabilities that could be most likely to be exploited by any hacker. So we can see all this information, and on the left hand side over here we can see the categorization of those vulnerabilities, whether it's critical, whether it's high, and then there is like this CVS score, which shows the likelihood of the vulnerabilities being exploited, and this score is being given out of 10. So you can see all those. You can also see the vulnerability name. This is basically just a headline of the type of vulnerability. And then we can go inside each of these vulnerability to see more information about the vulnerability, what type of what actually this vulnerability is. For example, this is basically some bad law vulnerability. Then sometimes this Nessus scan also can show you different solutions for you to tackle these vulnerabilities to patch up your system. And also some other useful links that might be useful for you to know. And also you can see as part of the output, it was able to it was able to find out that okay, the Samba bad luck patch has not been applied. That means this will be one of your actions that you like to implement in order to ensure that this vulnerability does not get exploited, right? And also you can see the port details. You can see that the port this particular vulnerability is related to is 445, and it's a TCP protocol. And also you can see CIFS protocol. You can actually go and explore what this protocol is and what it does. On the right hand side, you can see the severity level of this vulnerability is high, the ID, the version of it, and then any family information. And if when actually this exploitation has been when this vulnerability has been published by the offensive security who actually publish all type of exploited vulnerabilities so that people can know about all those and explore. And also we can see that the risk factor is medium. We can see that the CVSS score and all sort of information. And also we can see that for example, it's saying exploit available false. It means that I mean, sometimes we the metasploitable, which is another library that people use in order to do exploitation. So it's just saying that whether this exploitation is available or not for this particular one. Then we can also see, the CV details, which will give us more information about this vulnerability. So in this way, we will be able to see, a lot of information about different type of vulnerabilities. So we can explore all of it. So, so what we will do, we'll go back, and now you can see that the scanning is still going on, and so far it was able to find 4 critical, and then 4 high, 9 medium, and 5 low categories of vulnerabilities in the target system. So what I will do, I will actually stop this scanning. So next, what we want to do is that we want to, let's say, find out a particular type of information from this scanning. So we can do filter. So we want to do filter on, let's say, port. So we want to find out if there is any issue with port number 22. So we can do apply, and we can see that there is actually one vulnerabilities available on that port. So we can do different sort of filter and all, so if needed. Then the next thing that I would like you to see is how we create report. We need to click on report first before we do even export. So we click on report, and then we can click on PDF or CSV, and then we can actually select the type of information that we want to add in the report. So whether we want to do a complete list of vulnerabilities by host, or we just want to get detailed information about those vulnerabilities by plugin or by host. So we can select whichever we need or whichever requirements we have, and then we can click on generate report, and then it will generate and download that PDF file for us. So here we go. The file has been downloaded. Over here we will be able to see all type of information that Nessus was able to find out about the target IP address of target network. So based on all of this information, you will be able to present it to the company that you are working for. That was basically the basic introduction to Nessus. And remember, this is just scratching the surface. Nessus is a very powerful tool with a lot of lot of other options and lot of other more possibilities to offer. And there are actually a lot of other scanning options available that we were not going in detail, and there were also a lot of plugins for specific checks and reporting features. For further learning, you can also explore the official Nessus documentation and resources available online as well. There are plenty of video tutorials to deeper on this topic. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and if so, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more cybersecurity content. So until I see you in the next video, happy learning.